Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you so much. I saw Jigra of yours and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thought it was a
Thank
very
you.
raw and searing film. It reminded me of Alan Parker's Midnight Express. I don't know if you've seen it. It's about that
Oh, I
young
have.
American student and how important is box office success to you. And it is important to everybody. I mean, let's be very honest. But in your case, I feel the reviews have been very favorable. But
Yeah.
it's not easy for it to translate into economics. Has that been a point
Yeah.
of, have you been thinking about it perhaps? That where do I
Yeah,
get
I mean, it's disheartening, for sure, because I mean, I know the intentions behind the project was so pure. I know the maker, I know Vasan sir, and his genius on set, and I know Alia, who's I personally feel like I may be biased, whatever, but I feel like this was her best performance. I think she was she did something special in this film, and so it's disheartening to see that it didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. But I see a lot of genuine love, man. I see a lot of like really genuine love for this film, and I think it'll find its audience. I mean, I think the film will hopefully touch wood, and that's the intention, right? To kind of reach out and to move people, which I feel like it did, and I think it'll have a life of its own. And when it comes to box office and all, I'm so new, I'm clueless. Like I'm really clueless about the collections and the whole logistics of all these things. But obviously, you want to reach a wider audience. I think that's the intention. Because we do it for the people, and we want the people to watch it and love it. There's no other intentions behind these things. Um, so, uh, so yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the journey, and hopefully, keep going and keep moving forward and keep getting better.
Yeah, you were on call to, be a bit helpless, vulnerable, and raw, right? How did you go about it, Vedang?
For me, it was mostly to do with the writing. It was already doing half a job for me. But I'd like to think I have some sort of a process. I'm only 2 films old, and I'm finding my process with the films that I'm doing. But for this film, it was just a different approach from what I did in the first one. A lot of I guess, research in terms of I saw a lot of documentaries of inmates who were put in that situation, right? People who are awaiting their deaths. It's a really unique situation to be in. As an actor, I can never actually feel that emotion, right? I can't access that without actually maybe seeing or drawing from people. Also, this the experience of being in prison, how that feels like in a foreign country. So I guess it's like kind of reading about things, watching a lot of movies. One more thing that helped me was watching characters or actors that I admire play characters that are inmates. I can really never have a real life jail experience
Right.
unless I was, absolutely crazy. And we did a couple of workshops before the film, and we try to find what the characters like. And I found that surprisingly, Ankur is so close to who I am as a person, which
Mm.
really helps. Reggie, the character that I played in my first film, was very far from who I am as a
I
person.
see.
So it's interesting to know, how your character is and how far your character is from the person you are, and how do you access, and bridge that gap.
But you
Sure.
need to perhaps tell me, like, what kind of legwork did you do? Like, what kind of movies did you watch?
I watched Midnight Express is one of them. Then I watched this film in which it's a really people don't know about that film. It's Sylvester Stallone in jail. I don't know. I can't remember what that film is called. But it's a film where he's in prison and he's been taken in, and that was a fun thing to watch. I
Okay.
watched Shawshank Redemption again
Of course,
because
that has to be in everybody's book, I think, right?
any excuse to
That's
watch that film again. Gumrah was one of the films that I saw,
yes.
just to kind of because it's kind of like that jailbreak thing. You don't really see it in Hindi films very often, so I saw Gumrah as a reference.
And Vedang, you also acted alongside Alia Bhatt, who's a powerhouse talent. We all know it, it's established. But you both needed to have a sibling equation, which is a very different dynamic from being lovers on screen, right? Like you guys really have each other's back. Is there like, were you worried at some point that you would just look intimidated on the big screen rather than actually looking up to her?
Well, yeah, I mean, that intimidation was there before the film started. I was a bit worried of the fact that okay, Alia is there and she's this big star, and I'm only a newcomer, and what if I screw this up? And but I mean, I did put that pressure on myself, but I think we realized, or at least I realized it from the first day that she's like the nicest person ever, and she'll make you feel more important than you are, which made it easier for me. And then it just felt like two actors trying to collaborate and do something good. Yeah, the sibling equation, it's not like we really spoke about it. See, like half of it is in the writing, right? So the writing kind of dictates the way we behave as characters, and it made it easy for us. But apart from that, like we formed a really nice friendship, um,
Hmm.
which kind of maybe translated on camera in a nice way. Because I feel like siblings are a lot like friends. At least the equation that I have with my real sister, I wouldn't ever like go up to her and like praise her and shower her with love, and at least that's not the equation we have, but it's like a very unsaid kind of love, but we'll be roasting each other if anything.
Right, right.
So it was nice to kind of form that friendship with Alia, and she's just such a good actor. It's so easy to feed off of her while doing scenes with her. So I guess it's the
Right.
accumulation of all these things.
Right, Vedang, ever since Jigra released, everybody has been labeling you as the nation's newest crush. I don't know whether it's very reductive. I think I hope there's more to you than just crushing on you. But how do you look at that sudden kind of like suddenly you're the it boy, the poster boy, etc. So how do you look at all of that? I mean, you're being objectified. I'm sure it's also flattering. Is it flattering?
Yeah, of course it's flattering. It's flattering to see people compliment you in any way, right? Yeah, it's nice to see that even a few people feel like that. I'm not calling myself any nation's crush,
Mhm.
but I think it's just cool to see people say that. I realize that I'm too new and I have too much to do to start believing in these things so quickly. Like, I know a lot of things are said and people, it's really nice to see people appreciate it, but I don't take it too seriously also. Because if
Right.
I do, then I'll be like, I've already made it, which I haven't. It's still nice for people to be saying all these nice things.
It's always great to see movies that explore the psychological damage that parents often do, right? Or parents or childhood trauma.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you talk to Vasan Bala about it, and perhaps just how do we make sure that they have only each other? That's the whole sentiment,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, I think it led to, yeah, we spoke. I don't know, maybe I'm annoying to my director, but I asked a lot of questions. So I used to ask, like, what is Ankur like, and what did he do for, the 20 years of his existence before this film, and what was his equation like with his dad when he was alive, and how did he see his mom, and where did she go, and so a lot of that happened. And the essence of it all, it was that they only have each other. I think that was the thing that kind of was the most important takeaway. In his sister, he that's his only family, and that's also a very unique place to be in. There is, that equation kind of changes. It's not like a regular sibling bond either, because like when you only have each other, she's your mother, father, everything, right? And at that point, and she's also the elder one. Yeah, it was interesting to like kind of explore these things, but it happened quite naturally with the way it was written.
I can tell you my most favorite scene with you in the movie was when you told your sister it's not a summer camp. I didn't make new friends. But
I
to
love
you,
that scene too.
I love that scene. I thought it was very, you got that comic thing because you're in a very grim scenario, but I thought that scene was done brilliantly. What was your most challenging one? Is it the one breaking down on the boat? Or did you have like scenes that you thought, I should nail this? Because at the end of the day, you are with Alia Bhatt, who's a more seasoned actress, right? So which one did you
Mm,
think was personally a bit challenging or difficult to?
A lot of things were challenging. The first time, the interaction that Ankur and Satya have in the prison for the first time, where the fingers touch. So
I know.
that one was challenging because it was the first time I was doing a scene as an actor where I was being so vulnerable, like being crying on camera. So I think that was challenging at first because it's a scary thought. Like, what if it happens in the moment? What if it doesn't happen? And so I guess that one was challenging. Then the lashing scene where I'm getting lashed by Ryan, who's another inmate. That was challenging because I actually got hit in that scene. So it was the way
You
it was
did?
set up
That was
was,
not.
yeah.
What is that? Is that even allowed? Aren't you all insured?
So it was obviously
Actors'
never the
body is insured.
I don't know about this. I'm not too sure, but it's like a given thing that in action scenes somebody's getting hurt. Like you'll see some blood somewhere. It's
I
kind of a
see.
given, and it's never intentional. And the team is always trying their best to make sure that the safety is prioritized. But sometimes mishaps happen. So they'd attached me to this wooden kind of
Thank.
like structure,
Yes.
and the way the shot was placed was in a way that you couldn't really see the lash and the lashing happen. So he'd taken a real kind of wooden cane.
Yes.
I mean, like a solid, like it would break your bones if it hit you. So he was trying to hit that on the wooden structure that was to my side. So it was missing me. and there's 15 lashes in that scene, and that was the only take we did. We just did one take of all the 15 lashes together. I guess in the second or third lash, I got hit a bit. And I kind of felt it, and I was like, I don't want to call, like, subconsciously. It's not like I thought these things through, but I just didn't want to say stop because there's so much adrenaline in that scene,
True.
and my mind was just not there. By the time it got done, I don't think I felt it even. Then I lifted my shirt up, and there was blood.
Mhm.
I think there was two times that he might have connected in those 15 lashes. But the weird thing was I didn't feel it. Like I didn't. There was so much adrenaline. It's like how boxers talk about, like, they don't
The
feel the pain
feeling.
during the match, and then the next day they're like, oh my god, like that was hurtful. I think it's adrenaline that kind of masks the pain. But that was interesting. In my head, I was like, yeah, this is my DiCaprio moment, like, where he breaks the glass in Django Unchained, and he didn't
Yes.
call cut. In my head, I made that fantasy up, and I was enjoying it. But to be honest, I didn't even feel it during the thing. But there was blood, and it looked nasty.
Do you channel yourself like you're a very young, I almost felt like I was like a school teacher, schooling, when writing a review, I was like, I have to be very kind. Do you get that? I
Oh
think
no.
something about you, Vedang, where people are very, I think we want to give you a chance. Perhaps it's because you're an outsider, or call it your face, whatever. I mean, take it for what it
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We just feel very like protective of you. Do you think that really helped you as well? Like you can be,
Oh,
we are kind towards you. And do you think that, I think, did
I
any
hope that's
tell you perhaps that you have
nobody's
that
told me.
friendly face?
Oh, nobody's told me this. Nobody
Ah,
said that
good.
I induce kindness from people. I don't think that's a thought
No,
that
no,
I've
we
had.
just want to treat you with kid gloves. Let me put it that way. Just want you.
I mean, I
There's no
don't
right.
mind that. That's great. That's great. It's better than, grilling and drilling me when it comes to interaction. So I'm happy with that kind of, puppy love. It's great. But nobody's told me this before. It's the better side of the spectrum, I guess, the one I'm at. And I don't know what the reason is. I feel like you can never really tell. You can't do anything about the way you are as a person or behave a certain way that would um like shift like put your narrative out in a certain way to the audience. I feel like who you are as a person will always show. It always comes through, even on camera, even off camera, no matter how much of a show you're trying to put up. I realized that very soon. In fact, luckily I had the experience of talking to some veterans, people who've done this for a while, who are so experienced, and they're like, there's no point in, like, putting up a front because it won't last, and then people are going to see through it anyway. So what's the point? That was some really cool advice. But yeah, I think it's just me being me. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know how people are perceiving me. But I guess my agenda is just to keep working and do a good job. I think that's my only goal. Like if I do a good job, then everything else will follow.
If you are in a movie, I'm very intrigued. I'm like, okay, let's see this. So that's a
Uh,
great start for any actor. Thank you for entertaining us. Jigra was very enjoyable. Thank you. I
Thank
really,
you. Thank you
personally,
for
I
having
enjoyed.
me. Thank you so much.